Welcome back. There's a fascinating story developing out of the Orlando area where the Florida legislature passed a bill that would eliminate a district where Disney effectively operates its own government. The measures would dissolve the Reedy Creek Special District. That's where Disney runs their own municipal services as a fact. And this move would likely increase taxes on residents in those areas as a result. And Akiko, this is just a crazy story that kind of stems from Governor DeSantis's beef with Disney over the Don't Say Gay bill, which you'll recall was a big corporate issue for the company in terms of standing up against that legislation. But it's interesting to see this ripple over into people's lives and people living in this Reedy Creek community.
Yeah, and that context you just pointed out, I think is important to establish here. That Don't Say Gay bill essentially said that teachers in public schools could not discuss gender identity or sexual orientation. Now, Disney initially was seen as contributing to lawmakers who supported that bill, faced a lot of backlash from employees, and then kind of had to backtrack and say, we don't support this bill, we're not for it. Employees still staged a walkout. So Disney has been having to deal with this issue internally. Now, on top of that, you've got Governor Ron DeSantis signing this bill. And it's an interesting one, Brian, because I'm looking back on the history of all of this. 1967 is when this district was first established as this agreement between Disney and the state. Essentially means they can govern as their own. But now that they won't, those costs for potholes, for roads, for power, that reportedly would be transferred back to the taxpayers. And you have to wonder if the governor saw this coming and whether, in fact, he could face backlash as a result.
Yeah, and, I think what is so interesting about this story is that people might be surprised to find that this was an arrangement that existed in the first place for, as you point out, over 50 years, right? Disney is a big reason why large swaths of the Orlando area exist at all. I mean, the City of Celebration is another example that the whole thing was put together by Disney, and there have been instances where it's Disney that's effectively the government there, not any county. And this is literally a carve-out from the county of Orange, for example, in that area. And it raises the question, well, why would you want to try to penalize now a company that has been so influential to the economic development? But then on the other side of things, I think it is a valid question to be saying, how much benefits have these companies gotten in the decades, in the 60s or in the 70s, especially in the likes of Disney, in literally private land development? I mean, I think it is a valid question, even though this kind of stems from a whole different debate. Obviously, a lot of politics looped into this, but a story that's definitely developing and we will continue to follow here on Yahoo Finance.